Hello there, you are watching Special Dialogue here on TVR World. For this very special edition, we come to you from the Embassy of Finland here in Jakarta, Indonesia. I'm Rahmat Idris. For this edition, we are shining a light on the topic of carrying forward a legacy, peace building, and a changing world. And I am extremely honored to be seated in conversations with the CEO of CMI, Martti Ahtisaari Foundation, Dr. Jana Talas, hailing all the way from Helsinki, Finland. What an honor. Thank you very much for making the time for TVR World, Dr. Jana.
Thank you for having me. This is a great honor to be here.
First of all, congratulations on the deliberations of the Legacy Seminar of Martti Ahtisaari here in Jakarta. But before we go further into that, I'd like to deep dive first into the question of peace building around the globe, and in particular, shining a light on the Southeast Asia region. Technology, information, warfare, climate issues have become increasingly intertwined and linked to conflict nowadays. So how is CMI involving in terms of addressing these modern challenges, Dr. Jana, in particular, evolving the foundation to address the increasingly complex landscape of conflict?
Hey, thank you. You really want to go into the deep end.
Exactly.
And start with the real stuff. There are two big questions there: how the world is changing and how the CMI is changing. In a nutshell, what I think are the drivers of the conflicts, how the conflicts are changing nowadays. There are two things that are shaping the conflict landscape. They are geopolitical changes and technological changes. Yeah. I'm not going into the detail, but these are clearly making the conflicts making it different. Yeah. The life is different. So what we see as a result, we do see more state-to-state conflicts. Conflicts used to be self-determination conflicts. Yeah. But now you see increasingly state-on-state conflicts. You see that in Ukraine, you see that in Palestine, in Middle East, and then Sudan, and also in the Great Lakes in Africa. So this is how the world is changing. Okay, that's one part, and the second part is how the CMI, and that's very telegraph language. I think all of this is a big issues, and we can dive deeper in any of them. The CMI, what we try to do. We try to harness better the new technologies, really make the forces of war have been much better harnessing the new technologies. Yeah. So the forces of peace have to really up their game. That's the first thing. The second thing is we are reaching out to kind of new non-traditional mediating actors, especially outside Europe, who are having a more and more important role in kind of mediation nowadays.
Who are these non-traditional mediation actors?
There are kind of, I would say, outside Europe, there are more and more important players from Persian Gulf, for example, Turkey, Persian Gulf countries. Also, I see Indonesia having had an interest on the kind of mediation issues. Brazil, South Africa. So these countries, we do see China. Yeah. The mediation is not the prerogative of few countries or the European actors, and that's what we are. And we are reaching out. And I think the final CMI's answer: youth. You need to reach out to the youth because that's in a really big question and a very short, inadequate answer for your question.
And that is carrying forward. The younger generation will carry the torch forward. Yes. And Martti Ahtisaari, the Nobel laureate that he was, the former president of Finland, has famously believed that peace is a question of will. Dr. Jana, how does this belief shape you as a person, and also shape your leadership at CMI, particularly its approach for the modern ways of tackling peacekeeping efforts?
You can't do this job without certain inherent optimism. Yeah. And I have jokingly said that we do pay people to be optimists. I'm not sure if we have to pay them more and more all the time, but that is really that is required to do this job. What I also, if you ask my personal sense, you have to believe that you can address issues. It helps me because, of course, you have very intractable situations. It helps me. I usually add that the peace is a question where every conflict can be resolved. And I also believe that in every conflict, every situation, there is something you could do. There are some things you can start to address. You can alleviate some of the problems. So you have to find the things how you can address the issues. So that's it's optimism and finding the right entry points to engage.
Right. Well, fundamentally, when we believe that peace is a question of will, with all the geopolitical tensions that we mentioned around the globe as we speak right now, do you think that there's a lack of will of all of these states in conflicts, of their leaders, to bring up the questions of peace into their will?
Yeah, I think a very good question. What we see right now, how I conceptualize the world, the dynamic, it is that it's easier to resolve. The politicians see waging a war using military means as an easier solution than a dialogue. Because of this geopolitical changes.
Diplomacy out of the way.
Exactly. So this is you look at the conflicts that 20 years ago would have been resolved. Well, as we discussed about Aceh yesterday, the conflicts that would have been resolved through dialogue are increasingly resolved by military means. Middle East, you referred. This is an inherently political problem, but there are kind of military or the Russian action in Ukraine. It is a political issue, but the politicians think that military force is an easy, cheap way to resolve problems, and that is the kind of the nub. This is the root of the problem. As long as the politicians think that, or they would prefer to use military means rather than dialogue, then we are in a problem. And I think the organizations like the CMI, our role is to always remind the possibility, bring positive examples, like what we did yesterday, and create space for this dialogue to kind of take root.
Right.
So this is what I really see as a kind of the, and I think we all have a responsibility to make sure that the politicians don't feel that using military force is the best way to resolve problems.
Right. And years into the highly protracted wars in Ukraine, and over 18 months in Gaza now, is not exactly cheap for the stakeholders, for the countries who are bearing the cost of these conflicts. And we have more to pick your brains on when we return for the next segment of our special dialogue. Do stay with us right here on TV Our World. And you are still watching Special Dialogue here on TV Our World, carrying forward a legacy, peace building in a changing world. I'm still sitting down with the CEO of CMI, Martti Ahtisaari Peace Foundation. Dr. Jana, this week, the Martti Ahtisaari Legacy Seminar was held in Jakarta, and more importantly, shining a light on the involvement of the region towards the peacekeeping and mediation efforts. And in particular, this is a city that is deeply tied to the legacy of Aceh peace process that everyone is enjoying at this moment in that particular part of Indonesia. What does it mean for CMI to bring this highly prestigious, highly important seminar to Indonesia?
I'll start with what is the significance of Aceh process for CMI. CMI this is 25th anniversary year for CMI. CMI has been working, and those who know have kept the tabs. They say that the CMI has worked in around 50 peace or dialogue processes around the world. We work in many continents, in many conflicts, from Africa, Eurasia, the MENA region, Middle East, and Asia. Aceh has a special role for us. It is one of the first one, and it is a situation where the ideas and the practices of President Ahtisaari were tested. Those we still very much follow the ideas that were honed in those negotiations. For example, that the parties are the key to resolving conflict. So we don't think that the CMI or the mediator or the actor who is, we see ourselves helping parties to achieve peace. That it's the parties who get the thanks, we get the blame if things go wrong. That's our role. We also work on the basis of requests that we are asked. CMI does not insert and come into the situation and say, hey, guys, we want to help you, we want to do something. We are waiting very respectfully, and if somebody asks us to engage, like happened in Aceh, then we consider and we might engage and help. So I think Aceh is, for us, it's special because it really solidified the approach and showed it can work in a very, very difficult situations.
Right. So what were, in your opinion, some of the key highlights and outcomes of the seminar, of the legacy seminar, Martti Ahtisaari in Jakarta? Because we are aware that it's been held around the globe, and in particular, its contributions to the peacekeeping and mediation efforts here in the region.
Yeah, there were interesting insights of the region. I think it showed the significance of dialogue and mediation. In its kind of increasing importance of dialogue in a very difficult world. Right. I think that's the number one. It is a relevant way to resolve problems. As I said, the war is just becoming more popular, but it showed that it has the dialogue can still work. I think that is very important. It also showed that the significance of the parties, that the parties we had the parties of the Aceh conflict there yesterday. It showed that the commitment, the leadership and courage of the parties, of those leaders, is absolutely crucial. It showed also that you need to support the processes, and very often you need multilateral solutions in order to achieve where you want to go. It also highlighted the role of youth, but just to pick up a few of them.
That's right. On that note of youth involvement, how has CMI been providing support for the engagement of the young people in the peacekeeping efforts in their respective region, Dr. Yana, in particular, taking practical steps just beyond the symbolic involvement to empower this younger generation? I
will tell you something you might not know.
I may not know it, so tell me anyway.
President Ahtisaari, his vocation, his training, he was a teacher. He was a teacher, and this you can see through his career. When he went into the situation, when he went to the country, when he went anywhere, he wanted to meet young people. He was interested of their preoccupations. He was interested of their views. He was interested of their interest. He wanted to engage. He wanted to interact with the young people. And this is absolutely crucial. It's not the kind of, that he honestly appreciated these interactions with the younger generation. And I think this is the heart, that you have to show respect and you have to bring them to the process or as close to the process as possible. And if you are running a process, you need to know the aspirations of the youth. Think of peace is usually done for the youth, for the children. And if I talk with the protagonist in Aceh yesterday, they clearly saw that this was the peace was for the youth. They engaged this process for their children to have a better life that they had. And I think this is the aspect that we have to be able to push through other, and that's the kind of bedrock of the CMI approach.
Right. Well, peace, the long-lasting peace, and the ways we address climate change, for example, is something that for their children's children will enjoy in the next future. We have more to ask you in the next segment of our special dialogue. Dr. Yana, do stay with us, and we'll be right back in just a few minutes right here on TV Our World. Do stay with us until then. Welcome back. You are still watching our special dialogue here on TV Our World as we shine a light on the topic of carrying forward a legacy, peace building, and a changing world. For the final segment of our dialogue today, we are very honored to be joined by the Ambassador of Finland to Indonesia here in the capital Jakarta, Indonesia, His Excellency Pekka Kaikilahti. Mr. Ambassador, thank you very much for joining us for this very important conversation on TV Our World. We know that both of you are pressed for time, but first I'll have to go to you for the final segment, Mr. Ambassador. First, congratulations on the very successful, important legacy seminar of Martti Ahtisaari here in Jakarta. And we are aware that this highly important event has also been held around the globe, Ankara, New York, Geneva, even Dar es Salaam at some point. Walk us through how Jakarta has been put into the scope and become an essential part of this very important conversation of peace building around the globe, and in particular shining a light on the region of Southeast Asia.
Okay. First of all, thanks for having me here. I mean, Indonesia to Finland is a very important partner, a close, very close partner, like-minded in many respects. We share many of the same values, many of the same goals, and here in particular in this context, peace and bringing peace about. We both really value things such as stability and peace, because that's what we need to prosper ourselves.
Yeah. And how has Jakarta put into a very strategic positions, has become a leader in the region to sort of help us navigate through some of the most crucial peace-building efforts in the region, Mr. Ambassador?
First of all, I mean, our national philosophy is that, and not only in the sector of peace, that I mean, we can't do everything on our own. Quite the contrary, we need partners. And Indonesia, being the biggest and most likely also the most influential country in this part of the world, is a natural partner to us. And this is, I mean, this is what we try to promote all the time. And that coupled with the fact that you have so much your own experience, expertise on building peace mediation and so forth. I mean, we
may easily look back to the success that we've achieved with the Aceh peace process a few years back. Now that everyone's in the region is prospering from all of the peace that they're experiencing at the moment. And over to you, Dr. Yana, because we believe that 25 years into its existence, CMI has been working in a variety of landscapes, different continents around the globe. And right now, as we focus into the region of Southeast Asia here in Jakarta, what do you think of some of the uniqueness that this region has in terms of addressing its pertinent conflicts and increasingly complex landscapes as well, and the methodologies of CMI to sort of come up with a very strategic ways to address all of these issues in the region?
Thank you. I am very conscious that I have the least expertise of this region, of anybody sitting here. So I've known Pekka for almost 30 years, and I know his a very strong expertise on the region, and you. So I am very I'm modest in my kind of conclusions or my recommendations. I think the point is that this is incredibly dynamic in terms of economic dynamism. It is incredibly diverse region, and also incredibly generous and gentle, that you have the generosity of the peoples here are incredible. So this has a lots of potential. This region is will be the cradle of the economic growth and and dialogues and the peace, or it could be the cradle of conflicts for the next 100 of years. I think I take one point which I think is very important. I think this is also the role of Indonesia. What I said, geopolitics is becoming more and more important. It is, and we see that across the world, that you need to have, you don't want to get big external powers involved into your region. The more you can keep your region and find solution for your conflicts within the region, the better. And I think this is and I see ASEAN has a crucial role in that. And this is not only here. We see this in Africa, we see that in Europe. So I would really plead and argue for regional solutions and activity to address issues, not to let outside troubles to come into this region.
Well, it goes without saying that there's plenty of external powers, even superpowers, trying to assert its influence in the region, Southeast Asia and the Pacific, Indo-Pacific overall. But we do have our own homework when it comes to rising conflicts. Just recently, the borders of Cambodia and Thailand are closed due to the heightened tensions. And we have also China stirring the waters with the Philippines at South China Sea, and also one of the biggest thorn in ASEAN side is always the ever elusive resolution to Myanmar conflicts. How do you think the entity of ASEAN can further strengthen its grips in terms of maintaining regional peace and stability and help us navigate to the correct point of peace-building efforts?
There are no shortcuts.
There is no shortcuts. It's been years and years in progress.
And I think you can always look as half full or half empty. Yeah. So I think ASEAN has done a terrific job on addressing many of the issues. Yeah. It could do better. And I think it is more and more important that these issues are addressed and ASEAN countries together find the ways to address these issues together. Because what we have seen in Africa, what we've seen in the Middle East, if you don't do it yourself, among yourself, you get caught into a difficult recurrence of international politics. So this is something that I really plead, and I see that there is an inclination, but I would kind of urge you to go even further and try to look for, from your own culture, your own dynamism, the ways you can address the issues yourself.
Right. Well, Ambassador Pekka, we have been enjoying such harmonious relations, Finland and Indonesia, over the decades, and being here as an extended hands of essentially Finland government here in the country. How would you see our cooperations and relations, our ties with Finland will continue to be fostered in the years to come, particularly shining a light on the importance of Indonesia's strategic positions and navigating the ways we maintain peace in the region?
It is amazing that, despite, the physical distance and the difference in the sizes of our respective countries, there are so many things in common. Yeah. I mean, the fact that we are both, practically archipelagic countries and so forth. So that's why there is so much, complementarity, and that's why we also have so much cooperation in other spheres too. Say, in energy and minerals, forestry,
sustainable energy at that.
Yes, digitalization and education, and I would say that one of the advantages we have here, and now if we go back to the peace building, peace mediation and so forth, is that we usually have our approach is kind of the whole of society. That's why we work so closely with the civil society organizations. Oftentimes they have advantages. They have skills, and then they also have the kind of neutrality which can be accepted by the parties in the conflict. And then again, this being a whole of society approach with our partners, we can also step in and then support these processes with our resources and so forth. And again, one of the main advantages is the fact that Finland is rightly perceived as a neutral player here. We're not a great power. We don't have any hidden agenda. Our goal is what we have said explicitly, and that's seeking the peace.
And the partaking of Finland, Helsinki's effort, for example, for the peacekeeping Aceh has been nothing short of extraordinary, Mr. Ambassador. But there's this one part that we discussed in the previous segments of our conversation with Dr. Yanums, that there is a significant attention being paid to the involvement, the engagement of younger generations in peace-building efforts. And you were there hands-on at the Legacy Seminar. From your perceptions, Mr. Ambassador, share with us the sense of enthusiasms and the look forward of these younger generations in Indonesia to partake in the peace-building effort.
Yeah. I mean, I keep reiterating this. I mean, from our perspective, based on our experience and I mean, lessons learned over the decades, it's extremely important, the engagement of women and youth. they have to be there. They have to be, as one of the, stakeholders. They might have, very valuable inputs on the one hand, and then we need their ownership in the outcome. Yeah. And thirdly, in the final analysis, they are the ones that have to lead and implement that peace accord in the future. Right. If they haven't had a say, if they don't have an ownership, then I believe, unfortunately, the peace might be quite, fragile.
Right. Very well said there. We are on to the final minute of our very fast-flying conversations here, but if we may have you deliver a message to the next generations of mediators and peace builders, Dr. Jana, what would it be?
Engage. Engage, look for solutions, not only problems. Organize, get together with the other people, get the sense that you are doing something together. Use new technologies for this. I think that would make a change.
Right. And technology-wise, they are the right generation to say this too. And with that, we've come to the conclusion of our special dialogue here on TV Our World. And I'd like to express my gratitudes to both of you, CEO of CMI, Martti Ahtisaari Peace Foundation, Dr. Jana Talas, and right next to him is the Ambassador of Finland to Indonesia, His Excellency Pekka Kaihilahti. Thank you both very much for your insights and making the time for TV Our World.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
And that is all that we have for today's special dialogue here on TV Our World. From the Embassy of Finland here in the capital, Jakarta, Indonesia, I'm Rahmat Idris. Thank you so much for watching. Bye-bye.